Okay, today I wanted to go into a little bit about cosmology and soul lineage, soul birth, soul age, to help people understand the hierarchical linear path to understanding the different phases of soul evolution. Okay, so we can talk about old souls, new souls. What does that mean? How do we know someone's new or old? Is it an earth incarnation? Is it galactic? Is it star seeds? Are they light beings, so light workers that came in as soul sparks? What does it mean? And how can we define that for ourselves? So this is my perspective. It's what I've seen from OPL Quantum Healing. I wrote the Aura of God and the Cosmic Map to help people have a very, very, very simplistic perspective on the cosmos. This just helps us with our human brains and this very dense reality to perceive multidimensionality in a more simplistic and digestible way so that we can successfully navigate the spiritual landscape and merge that with the physical reality. Okay, so the way I have this mapped out, it's a lot more complex. It's more of a quantum reality than a physical material lines and boxes, but I mapped this so that we can perceive it in that way. And once you start integrating that information in the way the cosmos is set up, it's a lot easier to navigate the internal landscape and to understand and to heal. Okay, so that's why I did that. So we start with, I'm trying not to lose my places here. We start with the Aura of God. So we are one being. This is the presence of God. It's everything. Okay, it is the cosmos, time, space, which is cosmic energy. It's essentially just ethereal light realms. And then we have space-time, which is matter. And space-time is 7D to 1D, okay? Time-space is 8D to 12D or 13, okay? And then we have the cosmic map. So this is kind of a zoom in of the realms and the densities. And then we have the cosmic map, okay? So from everything, which we saw before, everything is the Aura of God, everything is source. From everything, everything was birthed from source, God, consciousness. And from there, duality began increasing through the densities and dimensions, okay? After about eighth density, I kind of use those terms interchangeably. They're not really interchangeably, but it's just the way I speak about it, so I apologize if that's confusing. Densities are bandwidths, dimensions are smaller reality structures within those bandwidths, okay? So this would be eighth density. Then we have the multiverse, okay? And these are denser realms that exist within space-time, so they're material realities, but they're more light-based, okay, than our realm. This is our universe, and it was structured upon the tear in time, essentially it was the subquantum anomaly that happened here, and source itself was like, what is going on here? And I actually think it was probably more of the archangelic beings. Resonance went into the wall in time to figure out what the subquantum anomaly was. And the energy itself of source, the purest harmonic of source, got lost. And when it got lost, this universe was formed, okay? This is the inverted universe. So this is the inverted source, God. Okay, and it is the ice energy, which I speak about, inverted source energy. Okay, so our universe was formed here. This is the inversion, so devil, hell, realms. This is God. Okay, this is all God, but this is pure source harmonic. Okay, so this was an anomaly, and we could have dissolved it if we wanted to. Chose not to because there's a lot of learning here. So the learning is, how do you align with source? Again, after being in this inversion, okay? How do you harmonize and find your way to true source? Because most people move this way. That's not true source, that's inverted, okay? So my intention for this was to talk about soul birth and old souls versus new souls and what's the difference, etc. So all of this is source, okay? An old soul, an ancient soul, would have been born from source energy directly. Primal sound, 7 rays, creative intelligence, the heavenly realms, or the coding for space-time, which is the 8th density. A newer soul would probably be in the universal, multi-universal, and a very, very new soul would have just been birthed in the inversion, okay? So a lot of people would talk about an old soul being on Earth for 7, 8, 9, 10 lifetimes, but that's actually a new soul. So how does this work? Source is essentially a huge thought form, okay? Reality is a huge thought form. It's a mindscape of source energy, and we are thought forms of that mindscape. So when the thought of God, source, is birthed, that becomes a soul. So there are souls and fragments of source that are being separated from source all the time. That's the process of expansion of source evolving itself, is by birthing these fragments. They go off, they experience something, they learn about itself, and then they come back, eventually merging back with source again, okay? And so every time one of those fragments of source energy fractures into an individuation of source, that's the birth of a soul. And that soul, at the time of the fracturing, that is the birth of that being, okay? So, for instance, if you're a very, very ancient soul, you would have been fractured or fragmented from this pure source harmonic at primal sound, which would be here. Okay, there was only 3 beings at that time, 3 primal sound fields: the divine father, divine mother, and the divine child. Okay, from there. And then those beings can continue descending down through the densities into the multiverse, into the inversion, learning, healing, reporting back to source, and coming back. Now, there's also a new soul that could be birthed in the inversion. This could be galactic beings, even evolved, advanced 60, 70 light beings. They could have still been birthed here. Okay? That's still a newer soul, but it could be billions of years old. So it depends on your perspective. Up here, it's infinite. It's all that is. It's all that is. There's no time here. Okay? So what we're looking at as an old soul is if you were birthed in time-space, which would be the higher realms, or multiverse, or the inversion, okay? And that gives you an idea of how the cosmos is set up and how your soul evolved from wherever it incarnated from, okay? Wherever it was fractured or individuated from. So, like I said, that's my perspective. There's beings here that have been on Earth, in this universe since the beginning of time, and when humans were just light beings evolving, and their souls could have been birthed then. That would have been around Lemuria. I don't even think we really had physical bodies at that point. That I would consider an ancient Earth soul. But then there's ancient cosmic souls, there's ancient multi-universal souls, and ancient souls that come from the higher realms, cosmic energies, creative intelligence, etc. So each density gets more and more duality, more and more challenging, and more learning. Okay, so if a new soul was birthed in this reality structure, this universe, whether it was galactic, universal, or at an earthly level, those are new beings that are here to learn about the process of finding their way back to true source with no information about it whatsoever. Okay, and that's part of the reason why I wrote this book, was to help people learn faster. Okay, so you don't have to stay in suffering forever. Okay, the question about soul names, etc. Most people have many soul names. It's not just one. And every incarnation you live, that is an expression of your soul. Soul birth. If you were birthed in cosmic awareness, you are a light being. These beings are light only. There is not going to be a name for you. If you're in the multi-universal, you could have a name, a soul name that is really resonant with the first time you were birthed. Same with the universal, okay, and on Earth. So beings that are born here, which are the ones that I call very ancient, angelic, archangelic, they are from primal sound, 7 rays, birds from there, directly from source, creative intelligence, etc. Those beings, you're not going to have a name. It doesn't exist. You are light. Okay. So, and as far as soul names go, this is again just my perspective. Every incarnation you have, whatever name that you had in that incarnation, is an aspect of your soul expression in that life. And you could go back to a soul name of your very first incarnation. And if you're birthed in space-time, it very well could be a resonant to your experience as a spiritual being at the higher levels, okay? And also, a lot of people come into the earth plane from these already evolved planetary spheres and realities, and that could be your home base, that could be where you're from, and your resonance, your soul birth, etc. And you came here and forgot that because of the density here. And it could just be that simple. And that is your home base, that's where you're from, that's who you are, that's where your family is, etc. And you just came here to experience Earth, and then you'll go back to that place and very easily have a soul name there. There's also beings that have been lost in space, not lost in space, that have been lost their homes. And because of that, they don't have a home, so they're seeking that resonance as well. So I hope that was helpful. It was kind of all over the place, but what we're really looking at here is the cosmos, time-space versus space-time. Where were you birthed? And that kind of gives you an idea of the knowledge you hold within, because it's going to be held within your DNA, okay? Not the 2-strand DNA, not the 12-strand, but the 64-strand, which activates when you move past 8D into cosmic consciousness, okay? That's where all these memories are really held and coded. And to really access those, you have to go back through all of your lifetimes, thread all the memories, and then you can remember. So someone like me who's been around for a very long time, I do not have the bandwidth to remember most of this. So I have to go back and get little pieces. Things will come to me as they need to, and then I integrate them and remember them as it's necessary, okay? But the best way to do that is to go back through time, begin integrating your memories slowly and steadily, and then, and through the healing process too, because the blocks, traumas, wounding will block you from accessing those higher the higher information, the memories in the Akash, the memories that are held in your DNA, and all of that. So the DNA has to expand, move into the new crystalline structure, and then you have this resonance to your past. Okay, I hope that was helpful, and we'll see you next time.